You heard they're going to introduce themselves because if we do that, we might be inaccurate to the Siyashagwana, to the abusive. So we're going to leave the floor to you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I wasn't expecting to introduce myself, but I like keeping it short and sweet. I am Chantel Jeradi. I am a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. I own Jeradi, a clothing brand. I own She Means Business Africa, which is an initiative that helps women in business. And I'm also the co-founder, well now the founder of Love Drive, which is a non-profit organization. And I'm also a business consultant for Procurio, where I help small to medium enterprises with their strategy, marketing, and visibility.
Hi, just like Chantel, I was definitely not prepared to introduce myself, but my name is Shamiso Chikarate. I am the founder of Catalyst Investments, which is the owner of Catalyst Agro and Catalyst Moments. Both of these companies are geared towards giving women an opportunity to earn income and change their lives. I'm also the founder of the Lady Catalyst, which is a trust organization that then works with women and those vulnerable to learn how to manage their money and grow their money so that they don't have to be forced to stay in dangerous and abusive situations because they are dependent on their abusers.
All right, so thank you so much for the introductions. All right, so we're now getting into business, and the first thing that we want to talk about, okay, we're going to be talking about business relationships, and I'm talking about stakeholders and the business people. And as you know, when you talk about stakeholders, we're not talking about shareholders. I know that's what a lot of people are thinking, but then even the employees, the customers, we're all stakeholders. Not, as long as you're interacting with the company, then you're a stakeholder, first things first. So, okay, we want to know now why this the relationship between the businesses and the stakeholders is important, because yes, we might say, yes, it's important, but how is it important? Why are we even talking about this? That's the first thing we might want to know from you.
Okay, so for me, I'm very thankful that I come from an African culture. I think the way that we're raised is to respect and to love everyone around us, regardless of their status or where they come from. Saying that because I do deal with a lot of stakeholders from America, and I've done business, and I am also into business with Americans, and you can tell the difference in culture. So when it comes to business relationships, like he said, stakeholders are not just the people that buy or that come into your shop or that use your services. It's also your receptionist. It's also the person who cleans your boardrooms. It's the people that make your clothes if you're into fashion. If you're into agribusiness, it's the person who sells you the seeds or the fertilizers or whatever it is. Those are various stakeholders in your business. It can literally be someone just walking down the road. They see or experience or even see from a third-party perspective what you do with your business. They then have an opinion that they can carry to whoever they influence. So it is very important to have very good relationships, because you never know the value that a person can bring into your business. For example, sorry, do you have like a stool? Sorry. I think you just put it in. For example, let's take, can someone just shout out what they do or if they own a business?
I'm a fitness trainer.
Okay. For a fitness trainer, well, that's a difficult word. But stakeholders are not just the people that you train. It's where you buy your equipment. It's who supplies your equipment. It's the people that make your business cards. It's the people that you buy t-shirts from. It's the people that, if you are using a gym, the facilities that you use to train people. Those are various stakeholders in your business. So when you have a good relationship or good working relationship with people like that, you create a value and loyalty. So we all live in Zim where sometimes things can be tough. And sometimes, let's say a payment doesn't come in early, but you still need somebody to provide or supply a specific equipment to you. If your payment hasn't come in, because you've got a good working relationship with someone, it means that they can give it to you on credit, and then you can pay after 7 days. But if you don't have a good working relationship with someone like that, they don't bring ubuntu in the way that you do business. So that's a very major aspect of how you do business. The second one is referrals. If you are a great partner to work with or partner with in various aspects of your business, it means that you can get referred to different opportunities that you would never have thought of. You can your name can be spoken in rooms that you would never in your wildest dreams have ever thought that you would be present in. But somebody is vouching for you because of the way that you've maintained the relationship that you have with them. I'll leave Shamiso to say the rest.
Now I feel exactly like our last contestant. Where you're the last to speak and she's leaving the rest and I'm wondering, oh my God, what is the rest? For me, my belief is, I have a friend and mentor, Jeradi. He's always saying the difference between a contact and a contract is the R, which is the relationship. So in anything that you do, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're working with someone, relationships are important because only those will allow you to grow within the organization or to grow your business. And as Chantel has kind of talked mostly about the importance, I am just going to touch a little bit on the how, like how you should go about building strong relationships with business partners, stakeholders, and all of that. So the very first thing, the very important thing is you need to listen. And when you're listening, you're not listening to benefit. Do not listen and just look for stuff that is going to benefit you and uplift you. You are listening to try and understand what is this person going through? What does this person need? How can I add value to this person? How can I collaborate or maybe innovate with whatever that this person is doing? And only then, when you start taking yourself out of the equation, when you stop just thinking, having that me mentality, and you look at how best you can serve the people around you. If it's in your workplace, how are you going to ensure that, you make your supervisor look good? How are you going to ensure that you give your junior person a chance to learn and grow? If it's in a workplace, or if it's in your business, how are you going about ensuring that your client has received the very best from you? 110%. Only when you start thinking like that, when you have a perspective like that, can you then start being successful. Because when people believe that you're for them, everybody wants someone on their side. And when you're on that person's side, they are more than willing to pay you however much that you need. So listening is definitely important. And then the next thing would be communication. When we communicate, you are trying to put your point across. You're trying to have the other person understand why what you're doing has value. You're trying to make the other person understand why you are the right partner for them. Whether it's in Mjolo, like what our, the Tanya Guta was saying, that you're always trying to make the other person understand. So when you're communicating effectively, you need to ensure that you and the other person are both on the same page, that there's understanding. Do you understand what they need? If I walk into a car sale, for example, and say, I want a big car, a D4D, are you understanding that I just want this car? Or are you understanding that I want to ensure that when I get somewhere, everybody knows that I've gotten somewhere? Yeah. So it's not just looking at what has been explicitly said, it is also about looking at what might be implied and what a person might need. If I walk into a shop and I want hair, or walk into Chantel's shop and I want clothes, right? Maybe I'm not as very confident and I need to ensure that I look my very best so that regardless of what I say or how I feel, people are perceiving me to be someone who is well-spoken and elegant and just confident. So you need to understand the implied, what is implied when you're dealing with anyone really, whether it's business, church, home, everywhere. People have a tendency of only speaking one part of what it is that they actually need. So in order to be a person who adds value and who has strong relationships, you need to train yourself to be able to understand the implied need of people. I'll give this back to Chantel.
All right. But before we go any further,
Before you go any further, I love coming to events like this, but I don't want anyone to walk out without getting value. So can we bring out our books? If you've got a phone, bring out your phone. So the first thing, I was just inspired by what you just did. The first thing that you need to write down is who are your stakeholders. List them down. Just list maybe 3 or 4 if you have them. List down your stakeholders. And then, like what Shamiso said, next to them, list what sort of value can you bring to them and what value do you need from them. This will then help you in how you interact and how you maintain or grow that relationship. So that's an activity for you to then do, or when you get home, look at what you wrote, look at the value that you bring them and the value that you need from them. And then going forward, treat that relationship with that goal in mind, that you need to extract and also get value from that.
All right, thank you so much for the words, already. I'm already enjoying this. But then you talked about Ubuntu, right? There's a strong connection between the Ubuntu and the relationship between the stakeholders and the business, right? And then she also talked about the different relationships and how we need to approach them. But then people are treated badly in workplaces, in shops even. I'm sure some of you have experienced some of those arguments in shops, right? But then we're stakeholders. And maybe we don't know how to react because we don't know our rights. We don't know how to deal with the situation. Do you think people are aware of their rights as the business people or their boundaries? And are the customers and other employees and just stakeholders in general aware of their rights? And how can they approach the situations?
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're asking is how do you deal with conflict
Yes.
in business relationships
Yes,
between stakeholders and the business owner? Okay.
And also adding on to how we know our boundaries when it comes to dealing with those conflicts, because
As business owners or as stakeholders?
Both sides.
Okay. As a business owner, what you need to realize is you got into business to solve a problem. That is your core, that's why you're in business, to solve a problem, not to make profit. Those are then now the benefits that you reap from solving a problem. So when you're solving a problem, always approach it as whoever is coming to me, they have an issue. So what happens when you have an issue? You're aggravated, you're angry, you're pissed off. So always walk into a situation knowing that when you're dealing with stakeholders, be it a customer or whatever it is, you need to be able to manage conflict. There are so many courses for you to do that are free on Google on conflict management. And it's something that's always going to come up as a business owner, whether it is a disgruntled customer or somebody who's unhappy who is in your employment. So you need to always just realize what is the situation about and don't go into things in my emotions or my feelings. We are human and obviously to not be in my emotions, but you need to take a step back and realize I'm here to solve a problem. This person has come to me with a problem. How can I solve that problem? So it can be the case of, who else is a business owner here? Please just shout what you do.
Digital marketing.
Sorry?
Digital marketing.
Ah, perfect. I love digital marketing. So in digital marketing, you are making a strategy or a social media plan for a client. You've made a monthly social media plan. They're not happy with what you have done. That is conflict because you were supposed to solve a problem and you didn't. Usually your ego says, I am the guru. I know what I'm doing because this is my job. I'm the expert. They don't know what they're doing. But you need to stop and do what Shamiso said. You listen. Listen to what their actual problem is. You created this, but the font is wrong. You created this, but this is not speaking the messaging that I want. So what you need to do is stop your ego and say, can the person, I want profit at the end of the day. So let me speak and actually solve the problem and actually feed the need. Do what you have been employed to do. This person has given you monetary value, give them the value that they need. So whenever you get into a situation, usapinde nema emotions, nema feelings. Just look at it or treat it as a problem that needs a solution. So you start by apologizing. I'm very sorry that you have experienced this. Please let me know how I can rectify this. Or please help me to understand what the issue is, and then I will see how I can solve it. So this is to go with your customer. When it comes to employees, I'm sure all of us have been employed at some point. We always feel like we're not heard. We always feel like we are being given the short end of the stick. What you then realize when you become a business owner is that you should give grace. You always think, oh, I'm the employee in Dindukubatirwa. But when you flip the coin and you become a business owner, or you actually have people you're responsible, you realize that there is a lot of things that employers go through. So you need to come or approach it as the full point of, I was once an employee, and I know what this person is going through. But now that I'm on the other side of the coin, I'm an employer, and there are so many things that I am going through that this person is not aware of. So transparency and communication that is respectful and kind and leads to the bottom line that you want is how you should always approach things. So when whatever you do, like I'm saying, like with whatever you do, always know that you have an end goal in mind. The end goal is to solve the problem. You cannot move forward without these stakeholders that are your employers or your suppliers. So you need to make or resolve the conflict by doing something that is mutually beneficial. Listen to them and understand where they're coming from, but also make them understand where you're coming from. It may be the sense in the case of you're digital marketing, right? Maybe you're not as good as graphic designing, so you employ someone to be a graphic designer for you. So let's say something happens where client is not happy with the work that your graphic designer has done. And then you also realize that your graphic designer goes slow and you don't understand why. You may come with aggravation and employing you, and giving you a job, but stop and listen to them. Ask them, how can I support you to do your job better? That's when a person will be like, boss, internet it's slow, so this then help is deadlines. I can't meet deadlines, so I'm rushing my project. Or it could be simple as the computer or the machine that you have given me is low res, therefore the quality that I'm producing is also low. So you need to ask them how you can support them to do their job better. And in that, communication lines are open. Now you can say, you know what, things are a bit tough. I know the Android, sorry to people when Manchester Android, I know the Android you're using is not right, but let's nail this, let's do this job properly. We can invest in an iMac. And that is sorry one day. Let's work, let's meet our targets, let's meet our KPIs, and then we can get an iMac and your job will become better and you can enjoy your job better. So it's always about opening those communication lines and also communicating as well. It's not always about you're speaking down. Let them also be, it has to be a two-way. They need to tell you how they're seeing the situation, you tell them how you're seeing the situation, and work together towards a common goal. I hope I answered that in the business aspect of everything.
Well, if you want to add on that part, maybe you could also add on how maybe the government and the regulations, the policies are also assisting. Let me take, for example, we've got consumer laws, right? For the customers when you go into stores, if you're treated badly, we know where to refer to. So now in the business sector, let's say everyone in here, well, if you have a business, then you're going to have a supplier, right? And you're going to have another buyer. So, so I want to know more about that part as well. If you just have a few words to add on before we move on to the next question, because we're behind time.
So, when you're dealing with suppliers and people like that, you need to always ensure that your legal paperwork is in order. I know that it's so very easy to say, oh, I'm friends with Shamiso, I'm friends with Tatenda, and his business, let's take maybe a baker. He's going to supply me with flour, and we've been friends forever, our mothers are friends, and it's going to work out. No, it's not. At least once, trust me, at least once in any business relationship, you are going to fight. Do not ever think that it's not going to happen to me, I'm very good with my suppliers or my employees. You are going to fight. So you need to always ensure that you have your contracts properly done and read contracts, please. A lot of people miss one word that could make a very big difference. You literally miss the word liability, where you are liable for everything, even if you're the customer. If you do not read your contracts, you will most likely find yourself in a situation where you have lost your money and you've also lost whatever supply you were waiting for that was going to help you earn more money. and now it's literally a double loss just because you do not read your contracts properly. So, and also, if you are not well versed in how to read a contract, you need to learn to ask for help. No one man can do it all. You might be an expert digital marketer, but you might be absolutely terrible at corporate law. And now you've got an issue where you have done your end of the bargain, you have given them stuff, and it's not like you can delete it from their social media pages, it's already up there. Your work is already making them make money, but you are now not getting paid. And you're stuck because you thought that, your little one paragraph was going to be enough to fight with someone who has got like a team of 5 lawyers on board. So always ask for help, whether it is with accounting, whether it's with law. If you are not good at something, there is always someone out there who is better than you. I always love working with people who are better than me. Because if someone is better than you, they will ensure that you're protected, you're covered. There's going to be things that you're not going to be able to see, that you're going to be blind to, because you're coming from a place of passion. You're coming from a place of, I love doing this. This is my calling. I was put on this earth to do this. And then you're going to come across a supplier or a customer whose sole purpose was on this earth was to just drive people crazy. And now you're stuck. So please, 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 no one man can do everything themselves. Always ask for help.
All right, thank you so much for the wise words. I'm sure you got that part of reading contracts where you used to just ticking the terms and conditions box and then we move on. It is not really, but then now we're learning. This is why we're here. All right. Okay. So now talking about these relationships here. When everyone starts a business, one of the things that we all want is to link with people who are not from Zimbabwe, because of the economy and everything, and because we want foreign currency, of course. People want to link with businesses outside of Zimbabwe. How do you establish a relationship? It's not easy. Maybe someone who doesn't have LinkedIn. How do you establish a relationship with a supplier, a buyer, whatever, from someone who's not in Zimbabwe, someone who's not in your country?
Okay. Before I answer that, I want to say, guys, Zimbabwe is where it's at. Please do not divest from this country. This is the country that you come from. This is the country your children will inherit. So make your business in this country. And also, ma G-Wagon in this economy. So you can also have the capabilities to make it work in this country. The second thing I would say is, when you are, before I even go further, if you can make it in Zim, you can make it anywhere. Because we have so many challenges. I always call this country temple run when it comes to business. There are so many things that are going to come against you, but you will always overcome. And if you can do there's always, Zim is the, I'm sorry to say I love my country, but the worst case scenario. When you think it couldn't go lower, it goes lower. So if you are able to manage your business and to do okay and well, to pay your employees, to add value to somebody else's life, you are going to make it anywhere in the country. So now it then becomes, how do you approach people in different countries? Guys, Google is your friend. And also too, social media is not for you guys to go and see Makuwa in Zimbabwe. So use social media to your advantage. You are able to meet somebody who's in Malaysia, in China, in Afghanistan, on social media. You can forge relationships and working business relationships through that. You're also able to see what other people who are in your industry who are. I didn't touch anything.
Technology.
Did I? No, I didn't. They're not okay. You're also able to see what other people in different parts of the world are doing with the same service that you're rendering. So you're also able to approach them in that way, even if it's not LinkedIn, because I love LinkedIn, but everyone on LinkedIn has it together. And trust, we don't have it together. So I love being on platforms that actually show the reality of business if I'm getting into a business. So TikTok, you'll find people will be like, I did all of this and I didn't get one sale. That's the reality of business. Those are the people that you want to link with, because after that, you realize they learned from the mistakes that they made. Now they're making more sales. So you need to approach those type of people via social media. So use these platforms very carefully. An hour can pass, we should go scroller mindlessly. But that hour, you can use it to forge or to approach people that can better enrich your business or your working relationship. And also remember, before you approach somebody, what value are you bringing to them? It shouldn't always be about what you can get out of a relationship. It's even if you got a mentor. I always say, before I approach a mentor, what value am I going to give to them? What can they learn from me? Because maybe they are industry leaders in whatever it is that they're doing. But what value can I give to them as a small business owner? So before you approach someone, and don't just say hi, how are you? And then small talk, I'm fine, thanks, how are you doing? Get straight to the point. Hi, how are you? I'm so and so, and I have a business that does A, B, C, D. I would like to engage with you in A, B, C, D. This is the value that I think I can bring to you, and this is what I think I can get from you. Please let me know if you would want to engage. This is my number, and this is my email, whatever it is. Straight to the point, but also let them know that they are going to get something from the relationship that they're going to form with you.
Looking at me like, oh, we're almost out of time.
We didn't start this session.
Hello.
At 1 o'clock exactly. Give us our full hour. Come on.
Okay, so one thing to really look at when you're trying to, deal with suppliers or customers that are outside of Zimbabwe, even though I am in full support of what Chantel said, if you are in this country, the fact that you are so unhappy with it means that there are so many problems that you can actually solve and make money from. So as much as we want to look outside, we can still make it looking inward. However, for those that are interested, culture. Chantel earlier said that when she was dealing with people from America, it's different. There's no Ubuntu. It's a bit different. So with every culture that you're dealing with, there is a difference. So if you want to deal with, someone in Dubai, Arabs, or in China, you should also just first look at what their culture is like before you start, because you will face a lot of roadblocks, especially as a woman. Some of these cultures cannot accept a woman leader. Some of these cultures will not take you seriously as a woman leader. So, of course, we don't let that stop us, ever. But once you are aware of someone's cultural bias towards you, you now know how to structure, whether it is a letter, it's an email, it's a conversation, how you can guide it, how you can show that it's not my sex that's at play. It is what I have to offer that's at play. So such things are really, really important. I've noticed that a lot of people will just, try and talk to someone in a different country the same way that you would deal with a Zimbabwean. It's not like that. And if you go into international business expecting that level of trust or openness or just, fair play, you will be greatly disappointed if you have not yet looked at, okay, who am I dealing with? I'm dealing with the Arabs. All right, the Arabs will definitely want to be more on the conservative side, but they want the result to be showy, because in their culture, when you show off, when you show up, I saw this other Arab wedding where they were weighing the bride in gold. Oh, sorry for the speakers in the Lobola. They were literally weighing the bride and gold, and the gold had to weigh more than the bride. So their culture is a showing off culture. So now you need to ensure that however you are, packaging your product, however you're packaging your service, you are telling them that if you do this, guess what? You're going to be bigger than Samir's dad. And everyone is going to see you first. So it's stuff like that that they now need to look at when you're dealing with, outside relationships. The cultural aspect, you really, really need to first understand the culture of the people that you're dealing with. And then social media is your tool. Do not let social media use you, because it will. You will spend hours watching other people make money while you're not,
because all you're doing, you're going on there because you want your dopamine kick for the day. Go on social media knowing that, yes, okay, fine, I can relax, I can laugh a little, but if I'm spending an hour, at least 45 minutes of that hour, I need to be learning something. I need to be looking at other people in the same, sphere as me, so that I learn what else I can do, or I need to look at the other people that are not in that sphere and how I can maybe bring them in, how I can start showing that this product, you need it, you need me. So do not allow yourself to be used by social media, but use it. I have a lot of people that complain about TikTok, but I'm on TikTok a lot, and I learn a lot. With everything, it is just about your perspective, your mindset. If you're going to go into this room full of all of these amazing people, and you're going to walk out without talking to one person, or trying to at least understand what someone else is doing or is working on, and how you can add value or how you can get value from someone, then you would have wasted your money, you would have wasted your time. You should always try and ensure that in any sphere, in anything you're doing, anywhere you're going, you're not just going to, take up space and just show face. You're also going to learn something, to take away something from there. Whether it's at church, it's at these business functions, even in a salon, you will be surprised at the number of, plans and businesses I've got just from talking to other ladies. So you should always just try and make sure that every tool that you have access to, in as much as it is taking from you, you're also taking from it.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, also going back to what she said, she was just talking about how we should actually encourage doing business in Zimbabwe. My parents always told me to such chairman, I want GD6. But then thank you so much for that. But then yes, everyone wants to start a business in Zimbabwe. But how do you do that? They yes, you might have the motivation, yeah, but then there are things like tax rates, there are things like inflation that you need to consider. But how do you go past that?
Wanting to go in there and do that, you should always look for support. Money loves good ideas. There's plenty of money in this country. As long as you have a good idea, money will always find you. Capital is not the problem. The problem is you don't know what you want. You don't know what you offer, but you want to do what someone else is doing because you've seen that it's making them money. So once you find out what you have to offer, what are your strengths, what can you provide? Trust me, the right people with the right resources will find you. How can I top that?
But I love what she said about, okay, sorry, before I even go any further, do we have any corporate girlies in here? Just show a raise. Anyone in corporate, anyone who's got a 9 to 5, an 8 to 5? Oh, perfect. Guys, it's not everyone who is meant to be a business owner. It's not everyone who's meant to be an entrepreneur. You can have a side hustle, obviously, that gives you extra income given the economy that we're in, but it's not by force or because we see so many people in business who are not passionate about what they're doing. And that's why we then you get this, Zimbabwe has got bad business or people have bad customer relations. It's because you're waking up and doing something that you do not want or do not like. So before you start a business, ask yourself why. Like she's saying, just because I've seen that Chingitai is doing fitness, Ninu at home fitness. No, just because it's making money for her doesn't mean it's going to make money for me. So you need to realize and understand what your why is before you start a particular business. I always say, make a 2-minute business plan. So your business plan is, why do you want to start? Who's your target market? What are your financial projections? So before you even start, unemari, you will enter into that business. 1. 2, who's going to buy your idea? Who's going to fund it? 3, how are you going to pay them back? What is your plan? What are your projected revenues? What are your projected income from that business? And when do you think that you're going to start breaking even and then making profits? So before you even start, Nyora's uses 1 page and it will show you if your idea is viable. Now when you have passed that hurdle where you say, I know why I want to start, and I know why I want to get into that business, I know I need such and such an amount, I know that I need to approach A, B, C, D to get that funding. And I know that after a specific time period, I'm going to be making X and X amount. Obviously, it's not going to be the same, but you actually need to say, I have a target market that if I put this thing out, I can get X and X amount of sales that will bring me X and X amount of income. Once you have done that business plan, now the real work begins. And the first step is to actually register your business. Let me tell you an L I took literally yesterday. Yesterday, I got somebody who called me up and they were like, oh, hi Chantel, how are you doing? I'm great, how are you? I'm well. I heard you've got a clothing business. Yes, I do. Are you registered? Yes, I am. And then she's like, do you have plans? Do you have tax clearance? Now, I remember my best friend, she's sitting right there telling me, Chantel, get plans. Chantel, get your tax clearance. You need those. But in my mind, I was like, I just do clothing. You know, I usually get customers in corporate. I usually get women who want to look good and feel good in their clothes, and they want a customized shopping experience, and that's what I provide. I never in my wildest dreams thought somebody from big corporate would want to supply for corporate. And the first thing I said, oh, I don't need those things because I don't supply for corporate. And she said, honey, this is a good deal you're missing out on because you don't have those two papers. So always get your paperwork in order. You might think, oh, my business is small and don't need these things. Girl, you need those things. I'm actually in the process of getting plans as we speak. So get your paperwork in order. You might think, just because I'm starting out, I don't need, guys, if you don't have the money to get somebody to do it for you, it's cheaper for you to go and apply for your own business, Wega. You can do these things, Wega. They now have an online Club Hands for Zimbabwe. We now can actually register our businesses online. You can do those things online. Get your paperwork in order. And this will feed into my second point, which is funding. You might say, I don't have funding, right? But I want to start this business. Just come out, Queen of Hearts, and you blow $60 on sushi and drinks. Save that money, register your business, get your paperwork in order. Now you can go, there's a lot of women in here, and this is an initiative for women. You can go to the Women's Bank, Zimbabwean Women's Bank. I'm sorry, I don't know. I think it's ZWMB, if I'm not mistaken. They have loans. A simple thing as collateral as a stove can get you a loan, and you can start your business. There are so many initiatives that are funding women in Zimbabwe. There are so many incorporations like SME, I don't know what the full name is, that are actually giving business. They're actually giving loans, not just loans, they're actually giving you the tools. They are giving you the ideas, they're giving you the information that you need in various industries that you want to enter into. So don't knock it before you try it. Don't say, you don't even know the incorporates that are giving you money. You don't even know who's actually giving you a training course in whatever it is that you want to do. So after that, research, guys. Google is your friend. The time that you're spending on TikTok, go on Google and just look at the non-governmental organizations that are giving people grants. Look at the people that are actually giving startup accelerators that are giving people money for you to actually further your dream and your idea. And like she said, money loves good ideas. So go back to the drawing board, look at your idea. If you think it's got potential, then start the process of registering your business and your company, getting your paperwork in order, and now research into who can fund so that you can grow.
Thank you so much. You're mainly saying the ladies, but as a gentleman and the gentleman in here, I'm sure we were inspired. And when we go and get our loans, please let's not use our parents' property as collateral. Let's talk to them. But once again, thank you so much. You touched on everything, the relationships. Yes, we all need some of those things, but then there are a lot of things that we actually got from this. And if you're against something, sorry. When you're eating chicken, you don't throw away the whole chicken, you just throw away the bones, yeah. But then you're going to eat nyama, and that's what I hope we got here. So thank you so much. I'm now going to hand over to our MC, who's going to take us from here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wonderful. A big round of applause for our panelists. You may remain seated for the next 10 minutes. We are going to have a quick question and answer for those who have questions. Due to our timing, because food is ready as well. Don't want it to run cold or to get cold. Any questions? Can I have a rolling mic? Wonderful.
Thank you very much. I'm a family therapist,
So my question is, what really is Mjolo? Because the first time I heard Mjolo, I thought it was a relationship, it was love. And then I threw it and somebody said, no, Mjolo is actually being in a relationship with a married person. So I think, do we have somebody who speaks Ndebele or something, or Zulu, who can actually educate us on what Mjolo is? Because it's a word that's just going around, floating around. And I understand we do actually have a Mjolo pandemic, but what really actually is Mjolo? I think I really need that, because I'm actually a spouse betrayal trauma specialist. So for those people who are betrayed by their spouses through cheating and whatever it is. So yeah, I really do need to understand. I think one of our speakers actually did point to that.
Okay, to just answer your question quickly, Mjolo is a word that means love and relationships. But like anything else that people do, they turn it into bad. Now people are like, people always put negative connotations towards things, but it simply was just being in love or being in a relationship with somebody. Simply put, it's now how you then term it, how you phrase it, or how you use it, then gives it a positive or a negative connotation.
Thank you very much. And also to add to the contemporary definition, Mjolo, the word Mjolo emanated from South Africa, right? Mzansi, which means joling with. I'm joling with Waka. I'm joling with Sarah. Get it right? So from then, with the rate of, like in your field, of betrayal relationships, get the point, in social media, intervention in exposing those who are joling and joling, get the point. It became a colloquial name for what we call side hustle relationships. Wonderful. Another question now.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. Thank you so much for everything you've said. You've really, really helped me. So I am Alexis and I'm a student. I'm in university. So my question is, I come from a big family. So sometimes the funds will be tight. So I was like, I need to do something, to have some kind of a business for my own needs whilst I'm at school. So last year, I tried to start selling some jewelry amongst my peers. And that was going well. But then, you know, with school pressure and everything, I eventually let it go because it was weighing me down. So now I am trying to think, what kind of a business can I do that will bring me some form of income that I can take care of my needs whilst I'm at school, and I don't have to always be waiting for my parents, or I can just take care of everything that I need for myself whilst I'm away from home. So what would you suggest I do for business? I have an idea, but I'm not so sure how to execute it. Yes, that's my question.
Okay, so I'm going to try to answer this as quickly as I possibly can, but yeah, guys, can wait. The first thing that I'll say to you is, in everything that you do it well. All you can do is the best that you can do. If you know that you cannot do something to the best of your capabilities, see ya. And that's clearly what you did, because you could not prioritize. Either one thing was suffering, so that's something you need to sit down with yourself with and say, am I able to do this and do something else? Because regardless of what your business is, it's going to need attention, it's going to need care, it's going to need management. So before you then decide on what you need to do, realize the reality of whatever it is you start, you will need to tend to that garden. Otherwise, everything will die. So you need to make the decision that I am going to do this and also do school at the same time and do the best that I can do at both. So that's just that's the part that I'm going to answer, and I'll leave Shamiso to answer the rest.
So when you're, sorry, could I please see her? Thank you. When it comes to, you know, what kind of business can you start? That's not an answer that a person outside of yourself can tell you. it's something that you need to look within and see that, okay, fine, you've tried doing a business while you're at school, but have you looked at doing a business during the months that you're not at school? Is there something that you can do along those lines? That way, neither your schoolwork or your business suffers. And then you also need to consider the people that are around me, because you see, your sphere of influence should always be the people that are around you. What is it that I can do for the people that are around me that can then make me money? Or what is it something that I can do that is in, and maybe let's say, I'm not sure, what are you doing at school? Law. Love. We've just been talking about how people are not reading contracts. Try and see something that kind of works together with what you're doing at school, such that it's also a learning process of what it's going to be like in the, actual working world once you're done with school. Look for something like along those lines. That is one. And then two, I find that sometimes we are wanting to, you said you were doing jewelry, and I'm assuming it's because, girls.
Yeah.
Girls are going to be your biggest market. But is it something that you are passionate about? Because regardless of what it is that you're going to do, you need to do something that even when you're tired, even when every bone in your body just hurts, you do not stop. Because consistency, you need to be consistent. You need to not give up. Because the road of being an entrepreneur or even just making enough money to meet your needs right now, the graph for that is not going to be like a straight line up. It's going to have, you've got your ups and you've got your curves and your dips, and you might have like a really deep dip. So if you are not passionate about it, if it's not something that even when you don't want to wake up in the morning, you wake up and do it, I would go with what Chantel said and just don't do it.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Just a quick census. How many students are in here? How many students are in here? From my experience,
I'm very excited because the two of you are well established and you have built your names in your very diverse industries. And I think I can allot a lot of that to probably you were self-aware and you managed to establish what it is that you really wanted. So because today our topic of discussion is workplace relationships, and I think that has contributed a lot to your growth. So maybe we can start off with the first question.